from the film that you've watched, how much different is NC State this year than a year ago?
Oh, they're two completely different, teams, same uniforms, but a lot different schemes. They're quite a bit different.
How similar are they to what Northern Illinois did?
It's a combination of Wisconsin and Northern Illinois is what we've seen, up to this point. And as everybody does in the off season, probably got together and mesh what they feel like they can do, and maybe some things that a lot of those offensive guys go to the same offensive clinics, so sharing ideas that way. But a lot of things are happening pre-snap, as far as movement's concerned, and it'll really again challenge us again mentally, force us to even more so really have great discipline in how we're aligning and what adjustments are and things of that nature to leverage the football and to be able to stay on top of everything and have everybody accounted for and defend the run.
There was so much expected of the front seven throughout the offseason. Through 2 games, how do you evaluate those guys in the front in the pass rush and run stuffing as you enter ACC play?
Pretty good, and still you want more. Again, just improvement and pad level and discipline and eye control and tackling, and continue to develop more guys that can rush the passer. And when we do pressure, be more precise, more violent, more sure of ourselves. Just a lot of things got to continue to progress. So it's been good enough to get to 2-0, but we have to continue to improve and evolve.
You comfortable with rotations right now, especially on the defensive line?
Yeah. Again, that'll continue to be massaged as we go through the season. But I think the thing that we've been able to display, again, through 2 games, is that there is some competitive depth there that you like, and not everybody is the same. And so trying to massage, from a percentage standpoint, who's getting what. Sometimes you go with a hot hand, and sometimes you go with how guys are performing during the week in regards to divvying up those snaps and reps, and that'll be something that we continue to massage as we go through the season based on performance.
As offense has gotten faster each year, less time between plays, and you've seen it out there. You've seen it. You're playing a fast tempo team this week. Have you made one significant adjustment or adjustments as to what you're doing between plays and communicating to your guys? Is there one thing that you've kind of done?
Years ago, we have, in dealing with the whole operation pre-snap, and that's just been going back and evaluating our pre-snap communication. Whether it's communication from the box to the sideline to the field, and from the field to each other. You're just making sure that the communication is precise and clean, and it's easy and it's effective and it's fast.
The offensive coordinator, of course, and with this offense, it seems like the OC and the QB are one in mind. And I know defense is usually the middle linebacker in the days when you could always huddle up as a guy calling. But do you almost have to have that telepathy with like the middle linebacker and strong safety, more so than you ever had?
I think you have to recruit more intelligent players that can do exactly what you're saying. If you're trying to keep up, if you will, with the offense and the offenses that are out there today, their ability to check the sideline and get a dot-to-dot from their coaching staff, because they are in control of snapping the football and in controlling the tempo of the game. Their whole line of thinking, amongst other things, is that they're not going to get into negative plays, and they're going to take advantage. It's like all those poker tournaments on TV, Well, what if you could see everybody else's hand and, they couldn't see yours? Well, that'd be a huge advantage. You'd win a lot of money. And so that's an offense offensive advantage right now. And so that being said, you try to be a little bit more precise with what you're doing without being overly complicated. And the players have to be an extension. If you're going to play effective and good defense, they have to be an extension of you when you're facing those types of teams. And so more now than ever, hey, here's my thought process, and what are you thinking here? And good, we're on the same page, or not so good, uh-oh, we got a problem. And so the guys that seem to handle that, and again, there's got to be a pre-snap diagnosis that happens like that. And there's a whole bunch of moving parts that are involved. And you're seeing that the offenses are winning more of those battles than not across the board. And whether they're in a great matchup or caught you taking advantage of a coverage where you're soft, so to speak. So being able to communicate effectively, be on the same page, whatever that means. Sometimes you maybe auto-call formations, because back in the day you could see them come out and they'd be in a pro set. Here's my 2 or 3 6'2" Mau-Maus that I love here, But you have time to put them in those calls because you see everything. Well, you don't have that time anymore. You got to give a call that matches up to everything. That instead you could play one call the whole game, but you'll get your teeth kicked in. You won't stop anybody.
Over the years, the defenses always seem to have caught up to what the offense does eventually, to the veer, to the option, to Air Coryell, to the run and shoot. Are you concerned that maybe the defense
I don't
may
really,
catch up?
I'm not consumed, and I don't really spend much time thinking that way. Your job as a defensive player and a defensive coach is to stop people, create disruption, get the ball back, get off the field, do all the fundamental things, in a great way. And so that's what you're more consumed with, as opposed, man, we got to catch up, or are we closing the gap, or I don't have that measuring stick. I'm very disappointed if we don't stop them on every play, and that's our expectation. They run a stick route, we should stop them. They run the boot route, we should stop them. They run the inside zone, we should stop them. And we tell our guys, that's how we coach our guys. If they gain 4 yards on any play, unless it's 3rd and 30 and we're dropping 8, then it's unacceptable. And our guys are trained that way. And as coaches, I don't think you can build in excuses for failure. And you start justifying failure, you're going to have a lot of problems. And guys aren't going to be nearly as invested. So, hopefully in life you get what you expect, or you demand and inspect. And if you don't quite get it, you're close. And so that's what I'm more consumed with, as opposed to quote unquote closing the gap. There's challenges, and every week, different schemes, players, tough matchups, but you don't say, well, we can't win this matchup. I hope they don't do that. That's not how I'm sure not any coaches think.
I've heard you use the term 6'2" Mau-Mau a few times.
Just something that you can hang your hat on. Every player, every coach can close their eyes and say, hey, man, give me one call that we're really comfortable in. And every defense has it, Maybe it's based on a personnel grouping, or if they're in a 4-wide set, what's our call? If they're in a 2-back, 2-tight, what's the call? And you got to be really good at something instead of average at everything. So that's all it means.
Okay.
Yeah.
Their State's quarterback is like a big, strong guy. The guy's playing now. What kind of problems does he present for you?
Well, he's got game experience. I'm sure he won't get overwhelmed. Pete has, started a bunch of games and been incredibly successful as a college quarterback. He's been very effective through 2 games, and kind of having to go out there once the other guy got hurt in the Louisiana Tech game. And I saw a quarterback that operates with really good precision and strong accuracy. They say he's not a runner, that he's a thrower, but I know this. He extended a number of drives last week in a critical second half on a lot of 3rd downs when the coverage was tight, and he pulled it down and continued to move the chains over and over again. And so I think he's smart. I think he's got good pocket awareness. That shows to me, shows experience. Take it when it's there. It wasn't like he was pulling it down and there's guys in his face. He's pulling it down when the lanes were there. And so I thought he showed poise and experience and a little savvy in that Richmond game, and then directed a Richmond is traditionally incredibly strong, particularly on defense, very sound in what they do. He guided him on that 2-minute situation and made some great throws, and as well as his they did a great job protecting and catching and all of that, and so that's always concerning that you much rather have the alternative with a guy that doesn't handle those situations very well. So that's what you see, a guy that he'll know the game plan, he'll manage it the right way, he'll recognize certain things, he'll take what the defense gives him, so to speak. He'll be very patient and disciplined in what he does in his decision making.
Do they get it out a lot more quickly than maybe?
Sometimes they do, and then other times, they're maxing it up and play action and double moving and trying to take the top off the defense. So they'll do both.
You've got 4 guys at cornerback that are kind of seem to be interchangeable at this point in the season so far. Is there anything that they've been doing to distinguish themselves? They've been doing from left tackle?
Practicing better, and then for the most part, what's transpired in practice has happened on game day, and certainly far from perfect, but I like our ability to communicate back there is a lot better. Their intelligence is a lot better, and I think they've shown more aggressiveness and been better tacklers. Again, we're always working on all those things, like everybody on defense, to keep getting better, and hopefully we will. But those are the biggest things, and just a little bit better discipline, not trying to do somebody else's job, just focusing in on theirs.
Had you ever had 2 pick sixes in a game before, a couple of weeks ago,
Oh, yeah.
for one of your defenses?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Number of times?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. A few times. I mean, you got great respect for how that all happens, but through the years, yeah. Mm-hmm.
At both Oklahoma and K-State?
Can't remember all the way back to K-State, but Oklahoma, yes. Mm-hmm.
Does it help that you're familiar in terms of being able to cover some of their skill guys? Because even though the scheme's different, you kind of know them
I think Coach Reed gives us a little bit of insight on their personnel, having been there. So, whatever you can. There's Sammy Watkins is fast. I don't know what I'd say. It's like, man, you better get a couple dudes on him and know that he's still going to make his plays. And so, what you can learn from that a little bit. In having played them, maybe whatever we thought going in didn't work a year ago. So I don't know how much that'll help us. But, this will be my first time going to Raleigh. So I've heard about it. It's supposed to be a great atmosphere and be charged up for us, and a good platform for both teams. And so it'll be an exciting atmosphere to be in.
Is that atmosphere element, is that maybe overrated a little bit by fans and people like us?
Oh, I think so. Overrated, I don't want to, again, take away from the excitement of it for everybody and downplay it. If you allow the crowd to be in the game, you've put yourself at a disadvantage when you're on the road. And again, you got to have that road dog mentality, man. You win it in defense and special teams. Offense gives us anything, that's great. But it's harder on an offense. It should be a little bit easier on a defense because of your ability to communicate. They're going to be quiet for their own home crowd, and I like the whole idea of having your back against the wall going on the road. I really like that. And hopefully our guys will have that kind of mentality, because that's what it's going to take if we have any opportunity to win the game.
How would you describe their style of run game?
Power, downhill, and then they have the ability to attack you on the perimeter as well, whether it's toss sweeps or jet sweeps, some things like that.
Will they bring in Sheriff's, the other quarterback, to run him more for like some wild?
They have. Oh, yeah. Yep, they have. Mm-hmm.
All set? Thank you, Coach.
All right. Yeah, you bet. No problem.
Got you, everything?
Yeah.